Howdy, my name is Jordan Lagarde. I am the trip supervisor at Outdoor Adventures here at the Student Rec Center at A&M, and I am the loudest and the proudest member of the Fightin' Texas Aggie class of 2021. Today I'm sitting here in this nice hammock here on this overcast day, and I'm going to show you all about how to set up your own hammock camping system. I'll show you a little bit of what my system consists of. All right, so as you can see here is my hammocking setup. So currently what I have right here, this right here is a two-person hammock. It's a little bit wider than normal. It's a regular synthetic two-person hammock. There's plenty of brands out there. I got 2 stakes. Those will come in handy later. Right here are my hammock straps. Just like this, these are typical hammock straps you can find any outdoor store. And you can even make your own. Over there, here's some hammock straps that have been homemade with webbing. And right here I have a tarp. I'm pretty sure it's a 9 by 7 foot tarp. What you want to do is make sure that when buying a tarp, make sure that your diagonal length, which is the length of this whole hammock, matches that diagonal length of the tarp. Or at least that your tarp is a little bit longer than that. And so right here I tied some on 2 of the corners that are across from each other on the tarp. I tied paracord. Don't know if you can see it, but I tied a bowl into the grommet at the very corner, and then I've tied some loops in it to put a stake in. And then on the other 2 corners that are diagonal, I took about I'd say this is about 6 feet of paracord. Just cut it, and then I girth hitched it to the very corner here of the corner of that grommet. All right, so when setting up your hammock, you'll want to first take your straps and find 2 trees that are about 10 or so feet apart, maybe a little longer. I like to make my hammock as high as possible, just so I'm furthest from the ground, and so that no raccoons get under my hammock at the middle of the night and scare me a little bit. I've had that happen before. So one big deal is you really want it to be quite even. So I'm gonna have to play with this later, but I'm looking at that right there. I'm looking at this other tree and try to make it as even as possible. These slide in here and tighten up. Then you can give it a little tug to make sure it's on. Then here comes the hammock. Each hammock has 2 carabiners on either end. And so I'm just gonna start with it here, just to guess. Get it out nice and straight. And check where it is on this side. So almost just about perfect right there. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna weight it down just so it stretches out a little. Also so I make sure it holds. It holds, it's safe. And I can stretch out the hammock some. Just so I can get it as tight as possible. Because the tighter you can string up your hammock between 2 trees, the flatter you'll sleep at night. And it'll be more like a real, like sleeping in a tent on a pad. So this one's pretty good. I'm gonna see if I can get it a little closer on this side. It's probably not gonna fly there. Sometimes I'll do this. I'll just go around again so I can get another placement on this here strap. Usually you'll end up with possibly a tighter placement. Sometimes you won't. This one's about pretty straight, pretty flat. So as you can see, I'll take a step back and see how even it is. Maybe even laying it. See if you want to make it. I think I'm gonna raise this side a little. This is gonna tighten it some. It should get it a little more even. There's that. It's hard to tell, but looks quite even to me. I'd love to sleep in that. So then I'll go forward with my tarp. Keep an eye on these two stakes. They'll come in handy later. So right now I'll find the end that I have the 2 strands on. That's a shorter end. I'll go forward and tie them around each tree trunk. On this one, I don't know how much I need to tighten it, so I'm just gonna loosely tie a square knot right on this end here, so then I can get this other end, find the other diagonal corner. I'm seeing that this covers on that side, this fully covers here. So now this is where the stakes come in handy. When I put this in the ground, I'm going to try to get a 45-degree angle just straight out from where it is. The soil is nice and soft here, so it goes right in. I'll do the same on the back side. There you have that. I try to tuck these corners right up, tight up in there. And so at the corners, I try to keep the tarp rope, the tarp straps right on with the hammock straps. I've learned that just over time, that gets you a better seal there, and there's really no chance of rain getting in there. And once you're done, that's about it. You can just go grab your sleeping bag, unroll it, and just throw it up in there. And I can sleep here all night totally dry. Now this right here, this is just a typical tarp. This is probably by far the cheapest way to hammock camp if you're accounting for the rain and all of that. Now this tarp is a little heavy, and they do make tarps that are much lighter weight that you can buy in tandem with whichever hammock you buy, and those work really, really well together. They work better than this, but they are quite a lot more expensive. Sometimes that tarp will usually cost more than the hammock itself, which is a little odd to me. But so the pros and cons of hammock camping. In general, I like to hammock camp when I go backpacking. A lot of times it is more lightweight than taking a tent, and it's much less bulky than taking a tent. Another pro is that this ground right here, as you can see, it's a little uneven. It would be kind of uncomfortable to sleep on this with a sleeping pad and a tent. A hammock though, it doesn't matter what the ground quality is like, or how wet or sloppy it is, or how rocky it is. You're just sleeping within your hammock, so there's a larger range of places where you can camp. One downside is you gotta have trees. So in the desert or places where trees are pretty sparse, or where trees do not have a full exposed trunk like these, they don't really work quite well there. But yeah, I've been backpacking many nights with a hammock, and I've really enjoyed it, and I hope you do too.